independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
I believe that we can build a country where no one is forgotten, where parents can put food on the table, where there are good paying jobs with good benefits, where our criminal justice system keeps us safe instead of shuffling more children into cages and coffins. Together, we will channel our common pain back into our common purpose. Together, America, we will rise. I'm Cory Booker, and I'm running for president of the United States of America.
Boom! Man, I tell you what, he did it right. He hired Hollywood. He did it right. He did. He did it right. Spartacus. That would have been funny if he would have dressed up like Spartacus. I am Spartacus. But he did it right. Here's the problem, though. He's a man.
How will he fare in this crowded Democratic primary, one of the most diverse in history, if not the most diverse in history? One advantage he could have is that he has raw political talent the Democrats point to. One of the challenges, this is a year of the woman. Women candidates running. He's going to go on The View today for his first interview.
He's a man. Remember, it's intersectionality, right? It's all of these things. It's about diversity. It is about the color of your skin. It is about the sexuality you have. It is about what you identify. There's certain boxes that they want to make sure, and this is the year of the woman. They thought Hillary was it, right? She had two. She had two chances at it. But now, after the second loss, this has got to be it, right? He's a cisgendered male. Yes, he happens to be black, but he's a cisgendered, a heterosexual male, right? So, and he's been nice to Republicans. Ooh. Is he going to be a player? Potentially. I mean, it's early for some of them, but again, the whole point is to put yourself in such a lead that you make sure that you're going, and especially if they've learned anything from what the Republicans did in the last go-around, the Democrats have learned anything, any of the candidates, is you have to put yourself in such a lead, right? You have to put yourself out there. So you make sure that you get on that stage. Because if there's 10 or 12, you know only 6 or 7 are going to make that stage where everybody's watching, right? Not the opening band, right? Not the side stage at Coachella. You want to be on that main stage. You've got to do something that puts you out there. So, yeah, I think he'll be somewhat of a player. He's got a good story, right? Smart dude. He's got charisma, which, as we all know, we live in a world where personality is as important as performance, right? Where charisma is important as anything else out there. And yeah, I think he's got as good a chance as anybody on the Democratic side as far as coming through, except for the part where I look and I say, well, you're a dude, and I don't think they're really. They want to make sure that a woman is, I believe, top of the ticket. Doesn't mean he doesn't make the ticket, but top of the ticket.
So many Americans are losing faith in this country's ability to work for them. People are feeling left out, left behind. And I think a lot of folks are beginning to feel that the forces that are tearing us apart in this country are stronger than the forces that tie us together. I don't believe that.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But what he did and the way that he came out, and again, Kamala came out, Martin Luther King Day, did what she did. He comes out today, February 1st. It's it's African American History Month, and you've got all of this stuff that is, yeah. But when it gets to the point of intersectionality, when everything comes together, there's a hierarchy in the way that people want to check certain boxes nowadays. And Kamala and him are both what? They're both black, but she happens to be a woman, so. And in the year of the woman, I just want competence. Again, I just want competence. I don't care who you love. I don't care what color your skin is. I don't even care if you have skin, right? I don't care if you're an android, androgynous, just asexual, don't want any. I don't care. Are you competent? Can you do the job? And can you do it well? You're not going to make everybody happy. And I think the best thing, if you're the other party, is, and this is the way you have to look at it. When people stand up there, I'm not here just for the people who voted me. I'm here for everybody. What you really should say is, look, I know you didn't vote for me, so I'm going to do all I can not to piss you off as much as the last guy you didn't like. Or whatever. That's the best I think we're going to get at this point in time.
Trump tweeted, quote, "Let's just call them walls from now on and stop playing political games. A wall is a wall." It was unclear to whom the tweet was directed, but it comes after House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy said this week that a compromise between lawmakers over Trump's demand for a barrier along the southern border doesn't need to include the word wall. McCarthy told reporters, according to PBS, quote, "It could be a barrier. It doesn't have to be a wall."
Yeah, could be a barrier, could be a wall. That's where we're at. What else could it be?
If I have a steel wall, or you could call it a steel fence, barriers, fencing, or walls, or whatever you want to call it. Barriers, walls, call them what you want. Whatever you want to call it, it's okay with me. They can name it whatever they can name it. Peaches.
There you go. We'll call it peaches. He's going to do it. They're preparing for it. It's a state of emergency. It's coming. This is what's going to happen. It's coming. State of emergency is coming. Be prepared. The left's going to freak out. The thing is, with all of that being said, they'll be able to move forward, get a continuing resolution. The lawsuits will come. The fight will be what it is, and we'll move on from there. That's where we are in this. We can pretend like, well, they're going to get closer together. It's not going to happen, kids. It's not going to. But I don't think there's going to be a shutdown. I don't. And if I'm Trump, right? So today you decided, you know what? We're going to step away from this thing with Russia, right? This treaty agreement, because it's just, as far as you guys have done none of the stuff in it from way back when, from Gorbachev time. We're talking way back when. You've done none of the things. And people are freaking out. Oh, my God. Even Obama and several other presidents said, look, you know what? They violated that thing over and over. This is the problem I have with a lot of these things that we get involved with, right? A lot of these things that we get involved with, whether it is the Paris Climate Accords or the Iran deal or any of these other things, we always seem to keep our end of the bargain, and everybody else always sees to trot all over that piece of paper. And that's the thing that I think pisses a lot of Americans off. Right? And this is another one. The Russians went out and they continued to do what they did, and everybody kind of knew what was going on. And Trump finally said, yeah, it's a waste of time. We'll move on. If I'm Trump, though, today I'm talking about one thing.
American employers created 304,000 jobs last month, the 100th consecutive month of job growth. Hiring from December was revised much lower. The unemployment rate rose to 4%, but only because tens of thousands of federal workers were counted as temporarily unemployed during the government shutdown. Otherwise, the Labor Department said there were no discernible impacts from the shutdown on the private sector.
Yeah. If I'm out there today, this is my thing I'm talking about. The economy is still good. The economy is still strong. The economy is still motoring.
First of all, we believe that the U.S. economy, despite a lot of challenges, has continued to perform reasonably well of late.
Mark Hamrick, bankradio.com. He knows. Smart dude. Great voice. The hammer. But the economy's motoring along. We're doing okay. Despite all of the chaos and the craziness on the media and the world's coming to an end, which it's not, despite all of that stuff, despite all of this, oh my goodness me, look what's happening to the world, look what's happening to our government, despite all of that, the economy, moving along. And in the end, that plays a huge part in how we vote and who we are, as far as what we're looking across the board saying, yeah, I know there's a lot of division right now, but my paycheck's okay, and the stock market's up, and I don't know if I'm ready just to go with the unknown when the known, while maybe a little crazy at times, is, I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right. In the economy, I'd be out. That's what I would be talking about today, right? That's what I would be talking about. Probably won't. But if I'm anywhere, I'm touting these numbers. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Super Bowl. I am so excited this week. I don't know. People ask me because they know that I am a Patriots fan. I was a Rams fan when I was a kid and a Patriots fan. But it's hard. They left. They broke my heart. I mean, I was up the street. I lived in Cyprus. Anaheim's like 5 miles away. I was so close. And it was there was the Rams, and I loved the Rams. My dad's team, he loved the Rams. He used to call them the Lambs, though, because they were awful back then. Vince Ferragamo, they really struggled at times. They went to one Super Bowl when I was a kid in like 1980. It was not good, right? And then I loved the Patriots, and I stayed with the Patriots because the Rams left. Rams left me. I was never a Raider fan. Rams left me. It's going to be interesting this weekend, big time.
You see strengths, you see weaknesses. That's what you study for. So, it ain't always about sacks, though. It's about the quarterback pressure, the quarterback hits, just making him move out the spot, not letting him feel comfortable. As long as you feel you close to him, that's any quarterback. You make him feel a little uncomfortable. So, you want the sacks, you want the strips, but at the same time, as long as you affected him some way, somehow, to the point where he ain't too comfortable in the pocket to do what he do. We're doing our job and we're gonna get it done.
Yeah, do what he do. Aaron Donald right there. And the whole thing is with Tom Brady, they protect him the way they've been protecting him. He throws the ball like he does. It's quick. Boom. I'm telling you guys right now, he can play till he's 50. Right? If nobody touches you, you can play for a long time. But when you get older, as you all know, when you get hit, you stay hit sometimes. So, I don't know. I'm excited about it, though. I'm going to eat. We got a lot of football stuff today we're going to talk about, including the awesome prop bets, kids. The awesome prop bets, because this year we got a lot of prop bets. I believe SpongeBob is part of the prop bets this year, and God, and so many other things. Text the program 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Slept well last night. Had my MyPillow. I've also got their mattress topper. You guys really like that. It's incredible. It was just amazing. Out like a light. I was. And woke up this morning fresh, ready to roll. 2019, we're already into February. What are you doing to make yourself take those little changes that will go a long way? And sleep is something that everybody can really address. That's what MyPillow does. It's simple. It's easy. It's not going to get any better or easier. This money-back guarantee till March 1st, 2019. You got a money-back guarantee. You got nothing to lose right now. 4 pillows, 2 premium pillows, 2 go-anywhere pillows for half the price, free shipping. Money-back guarantee. Boom. Not going to find this deal anywhere else. 100% machine washable and dryable. Made in the USA. Backed by a 10-year warranty. Call 800-944-4975 or go to MyPillow.com. MyPillow.com. Use promo code Benson. That is 800-944-4975 or go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code Benson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Serving up talk radio medium rare and dripping with irony. It's Chad Benson.
It's 10 degrees, not normally something to celebrate in Chicago during the winter, but today is different, following 2 days of 20-degree below zero temperatures.
Does 10 degrees feel a lot better than 20 below?
Yeah, a whole lot better.
He was out yesterday. He walked up to the health club and killed himself.
Much better. Yeah. Even though I know it's cold, but it's better.
And a big warm-up is on the way.
50 degrees by the weekend, or at least early next week. What do you think of that?
Something's very wrong, but it sounds nice. It sounds balmy.
The swing could produce a record when it comes to 5-day temperature increases.
Yeah, how about that? I mean, what are you going to do with 50 degrees, right? But look, we're about 20 people have died. It was ugly and nasty, but it looks like the worst is behind. There may be still some pockets and some situations where it's going to be a little bit nasty, but all in all, what a swing though. It's crazy. And I was telling people say, how do you're out there in Phoenix and it's how hot is this in the summer? It gets like 120 some days, but then at night it drops down to like 85. You feel that, like you're like, wow, it's weird. You feel that's like when you have 30-40 degree drops in temperature or a rise in temperature, you feel that big time. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us every single day at this time. Yeah. Rain, sleet, snow. Does not matter. Super Bowl weekend. No, doesn't matter. Opening day. Doesn't matter. We're still here doing what we do. Election day. We will be here doing that and giving you this, the urban word of the day.
It's time for the urban word of the day, fam.
What? Right now?
Time to get a little more hip on the streets.
I can't understand a word you're saying.
Urban word of the day.
Oh, I love this one, kids. I love this one. In fact, I'm going to have to take a little bit of this. So when you're not feeling so good, down, just exhausted, you being your own doctor at that point in time, you prescribe yourself some Bedicin. Yeah, I'm going to take a little Bedicin. What's that? I don't want to go anywhere. I'm going to recharge my batteries. I'm going to lay in bed because it's exactly what the doctor ordered. Some Bedicin is your urban word of the day.
Thank you for saying that in dated urban slang so that I'll understand you.
That there was the urban word of the day. We damn stretched your cranium.
Well, we've tried to develop a culture and a system, and then getting good people and sustaining the organization, keeping it going, and just having two outstanding people like Bill Belichick and Tom Brady for almost 2 decades. Pretty proud of that in an era of free agency and a salary cap. I'm very proud of that.
That's Bob Kraft, Robert Kraft. Bob to me, you guys have to call him Robert or Sir or whatever, owner of the Patriots. And he said something interesting there, how blessed they are to have those two for almost 2 decades. I'm going to tell you who the third most important Patriot is. I think you'll be surprised. We'll talk about that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Looks like Trump's getting close to saying, hey, I'm going to just have to do this. He might even do it at the State of the Union. Who's the third most important Patriot? A lot of stuff coming ahead. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Having two outstanding people like Bill Belichick and Tom Brady for almost 2 decades.
Yeah, that right there, who sounds like he's enjoyed himself a little bit, is Bob Kraft, the owner of the Patriots Super Bowl this weekend. And think about this for just a second, right? I want you guys to wrap your head around something when it comes to Tom Brady's been in the Super Bowl 9 times. He's been a starter for 18 years. 9 times. Starter for 18 years, 9 times. In a league that is all about parity, in a league that is essentially their whole goal is to try to get everybody to 10-6 or 6-10 and nothing to. These guys continue to do it. Oddly enough, third most important person in all of this. Some people have said the third most important Patriot, Gisele Bündchen. Absolutely. See, if you look this past season, I think it was the 6 top paid quarterbacks in the NFL did not make the playoffs. So they didn't make the playoffs. Now, one of those was Jimmy Garoppolo. He got hurt, so I don't know. I still don't think they would have made the playoffs. Why is that? Because they eat up so much of that cap. They've got nowhere to go. You're playing with scrubs in a lot of places. See, with Gisele making all of the money that she makes, she's allowed Tom Brady to say, I could take $12 million a year instead of 30 because I don't have to, like a lot of other players seem to feel like they have to do. And so what happens is it eats away your cap space, and then you can't be a great team because you're too busy trying to figure out plugging holes that you can't plug with guys who probably would make other NFL rosters because you don't have the money. It can easily be argued. If it wasn't for that, now some players are willing to go, I want to win and I'll take less, and they'll rework deals. But are they willing to say, instead of $25 million or $125 million or $200 million, I'll take this? Not many. Not many at all. Giselle, I'm telling you. That's a helper right there. I was reading how much money they have between the two of them. And it's not like Tom doesn't do well outside of. He's one of the few NFL players that does extremely well outside of the sport. But that is a huge reason why that they were able to continue to do what they've done over those years. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So we live in a world of go back and look at your yearbook and go back and look at your tweets and go back and look at the stuff that you did. And if you've done something wrong, the minute something comes out controversial and or good about you, especially on the national stage, you can bet your bottom dollar that it will come out immediately what you've done. And earlier this week, there was an issue, to say the least, with Virginia governor who decided he was going to talk about, Ralph Nothram was going to talk about, choice and pro-choice, pro-life, and got into this whole thing that he eventually said afterwards, but it just made it sound horrible that, the baby would come out and then they would resuscitate it and put it over there, and the doctor and the mother and the nurse practitioner, everybody would talk about what they wanted to do, and that he was all of third-term report, and it was, he said later on, I didn't read the bill, didn't quite know, kind of maybe put himself in an awkward situation, but he's still a supporter of that. Well, again, we live in a world where, watch out, because if you've done something, if there's something out there, they will find it. They may not release it today, but some people may pick and choose their moment, and it looks like they've done that with him.
Scandal erupting over the Democratic governor of Virginia. Virginia's Republican Party says he should resign if he's one of the people shown in a page from his 1984 medical school yearbook. The picture shows two people. You can see it right there, one in blackface and another in a Ku Klux Klan robe and hood.
Yeah. Blackface, Ku Klux Klan hood, robe. Looks like maybe somebody was going to a party. Again, this is 1982, 1983. It's a long time ago. He's come out. He's issued a mea culpa saying how sorry he is, how horrible people are saying you need to resign. You need to resign. This is the world that we live in. And maybe in 1982, people laughed about it and thought it was funny, not understanding as we became more woke how people would feel about that, not getting that, right? But there's some splaining to do, and it's got to be more than just, I'm going to release a statement through my spokeshole.
If it's him in blackface, it's a problem. If it's him in the Klan, it's a problem. If it's him just pictures with his friends, it's a problem. And it's a particularly bad problem because we haven't heard a word from him. I don't know how long this has been up yet, but at least since this afternoon, and it's been radio silent from his camp. And he's going to need to say something pretty soon, but there's probably not that much that he can say.
Well, again, he has issued a apology. He has saying, just saying a picture was wholly inappropriate. How bad he feels. I recognize this will take time and a serious effort to heal the damage this conduct has caused. I'm ready to do the important work. Because apparently before this, he was not doing any important work. But it's like, now I'm taking this whole governor thing super serious. First step is to offer my sincerest apology and state my absolute commitment to living up to the expectations of Virginians set for me when they elected me to be their governor and Grand Wizard. What do you do? I mean, and here's the thing. The Republicans are going to come out and scream and say, look at that, it's a Democrat. I don't have time for that. Right? He's come out. Is that going to be enough? Right? That little mea culpa? No. Is it going to get too hot for him? It's possible that he may have to resign. Is it weird to think that a picture, and again, I don't know what's in a man's heart. Right? I don't. it could have been something stupid and asinine, or he could really be a person that deep down inside has animosity towards people of color. Don't know, because I don't know him, and I don't know what's in his heart. Neither do you. Should he lose everything over this? We live in a world now where that is the penalty. You lose everything. That's what we want from you. We want you to go away and to essentially never be heard from again. There's no more rising like the phoenix, right? From the ashes. No more. We don't want no part of that. We want you gone for good is kind of where we are right now. So, but you see it more and more. I don't know what it is. People are looking for opportunity. People are looking for a chance to just do something the minute somebody else has done something, has crossed somebody, gets too big for their britches, whatever it is. And in the past, the Republicans seem to really pay the price for it. Now it seems to be whoever, doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, you will pay the price for it. And I can't, to me, what do you think? I said, I think that the governor has to answer to his constituents in Virginia. I think that's what he has to do. Again, I don't know the guy. I don't. I have no idea anything as far as what's in his heart. Some of his policies, obviously the whole thing with the abortion and the choice thing that we talked about the other day. But outside of that, this is something he's going to have to face up to. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Cory Booker running for president of the United States of America. And I keep saying the biggest problem Cory Booker is going to have from the Democratic Party is he's a cisgendered male.
In the broad strokes, he's kind of the idealist in chief of sorts. He's just this very optimistic, hugs everybody, bring people together. I think that kind of message could work. A lot of the Democratic candidates are running on kind of the Trump is terrible, how bad is Trump, how left I'm going to be. And Booker is going to run this kind of probably more sort of optimistic, hopeful. He says he loves everyone. He talks about love all the time. I think that's the campaign's going to, it'll be different for sure.
Yeah, and, but today he announces and they pounce. I mean, we saw it with Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, she announced and boom, they pounced. They got all this stuff. We're going back. Look what you did. Here it was 5-10 years ago. This is what you said here, but it's time for you to go. Bye-bye. And with him, they're already saying, well, wait a minute here. You hammered Kavanaugh and you had your Spartacus moment. All the while in your book, you talked about the fact that, that during your time at Stanford that, you pushed girls to go too far and you did some stuff. And it's like, whoa. Right? It's retro rage. It's anger. So they're already coming for him. I think he could potentially be a player in the big picture, but I don't think he's at the top of a ticket. And the reason for that is because I do believe with all my heart that the Democrats want their Jackie Robinson moment part 2. Right? They want that. They want the Jackie Robinson who would have turned 100 this week. They want their part 2. They had Barack Obama, first African-American as president. Now they want a female. And it is the year of the woman. And you saw what took place in the tsunami, if you will. So I do believe that is kind of what they're looking at, because there is a certain hierarchy in this, world of oppression Olympics, as they call it, and things of that. And she checks off more boxes than he does. Both of them have a D. That's a box check. Somewhat progressive. One of them's very progressive-ish, kind of box check. People of color, box check. One's a woman. Don't get to do that. Can't check that, and you're not gay. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. Love hearing from you. What's your go-to food in the Super Bowl? What is it? Like, so you're going to watch the game this weekend, and so you're sitting there, and you're like, okay, what are you going to have? Are you going to have chips and dip? Are you going to have wings? Are you going to have, what is your go-to food-wise for the Super Bowl. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. There's a poll up there about that as well as the Chad Benson Show.
Deep states? No. Deep doo-doo? Yeah. The Chad Benson Show.
We have on the wall that's under construction, and we're giving out a lot of contracts. So we're building the wall. It's getting built one way or the other.
It was Trump earlier today, and of course next Tuesday is the State of the Union.
You'll hear the State of the Union, and then you'll see what happens right after the State of the Union.
Yeah, because I think we all know that at some point in time he's going to announce the emergency. He's going to declare an emergency at the border, and he's been tweeting out, look, it's a waste of time talking to the Democrats. You're wasting your time talking to the Democrats. It's just a waste. Don't do it. I don't know what you guys are doing. You're wasting your time talking to the Dems. So I think we know where that's going. And they are building parts of the wall. There's about 600 plus miles of the wall that's already been built over the years. And there's money that DHS hasn't even used yet. And I think, the long, arduous task of the lawsuits will start to begin the moment he announces it. So we'll see whether or not this gets done. But he's pretty damn sure they're going to build this wall. It's happening. It is happening.
When the big game kicks off and you're having that party, what big dish will you be eating? Google has compiled a list of top Super Bowl food recipes that people have been searching for. In Alaska, it's nachos. In Texas, spinach dip. Mississippi, white chicken chili. But wait, in California, home of the Rams, it's baked chicken breasts. And in Massachusetts, Patriots territory, gluten-free pretzels. Ugh. At least there's Illinois where it's jalapeno poppers.
Yeah. For me, a little nachos, grill up some burgers. Don't know if I'll have pizza or not, but definitely going to have some wings. Wings and nachos are an absolute must for me. Here's some fun facts, Super Bowl-wise, and why, again, the rest of the world hates us as we consume. First of all, did you know Super Bowl Sunday is the second largest food holiday in the United States? Only Thanksgiving, right? But unlike Thanksgiving, it is one of the most popular years to do what? Order takeout. 1 in 7 Americans will be getting takeout Sunday. Of those, 60% are pizza. The second most popular, chicken wings. What do we prefer in our chicken wings? Ranch dressing. And this is what's crazy. The National Chicken Council estimates that we will eat more than 100 million pounds of chicken wings on Super Bowl Sunday, about 1.25 to 1.3 billion wings. What? That's crazy. Weekend of Super Bowl, second largest grilling weekend of the year. Only 4th of July is bigger. Nearly 14 billion burgers have been served up for the big game over all that time. Right? That's insane. That is nuts. And 32% of America say they plan on eating some form of dip on game day, including 8 million pounds of guacamole. Over 40,000 sausages and hot dogs were served to hungry fans at the game in 2014. That number continues to rise. But it gets different because the newer the stadiums now, and I've noticed this after going to a lot of stadiums, you go to a lot of these stadiums, and it's hard to find just like, I want a hot dog or a burger, because all of these things, we got sushi, we've got this, we've got that, and it's just nuts. Woo, I'm excited. Well, Chad, why should you be excited, man? They take a knee. Shut up. Get over yourself. MAGA, baby. Slow your roll. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. And antacid's huge. By the way, it's $5 million for a 30-second commercial. $5 million for a 30-second commercial.
The internet is home to many videos like this one.
The guy laughing is a dog owner. His dog ate marijuana brownies and is now clearly stoned and struggling to stand. But it's not funny, says the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, which reports a huge spike in the last decade and calls to its poison control center, up nearly 800% because of the popularity of pot edibles. More humans are keeping tasty marijuana treats around the home, and dogs are dogs. But pot is toxic to pets and can cause a dog's heart rate to drop to dangerously low levels.
Yeah. You guys want to get high? Stop getting your dog high and stop being dumb about your dog. That is, people are stupid, right? And they think it's, and once in a while something's going to happen. You're going to leave some brownies out. You didn't think Rover could get to it. Rover gets to it, and now he's just chilling. But some people, again, we love to do dumb things, but the dumber they are, the more that we have a need to film it and to put it on YouTube. We're idiots. We are a nation of jackass. That's what we've become. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Text the program. You can also check us out at thechadshow.com. And kids, check out Facebook as well, because we do all kinds of stuff over in the old Facebook. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You want to get high?
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Governor Nothram issuing a statement saying he's deeply sorry for appearing in that photo depicting a man in blackface and another in a Klansman hood. It was revealed in his 1984 medical school yearbook page. Nothram saying that behavior isn't in keeping with who he is today and the values that he's fought for in the military, in medicine, and public service. The Virginia governor says he understands how this shakes the voters' faith, and it will take time and effort to heal the damage.
They got him. Somebody did. Somebody. This week, of course, he was very, he's heavily criticized by a lot of people, some Dems and a lot of people cringe. He gave an interview talking about third trimester abortions, and he readily admitted later on that he hadn't read the bill that was put out there in Virginia, that you could, up to the moment of the child being born, terminate the pregnancy. And controversy ensued, and then lo and behold, out comes this today, and it doesn't, for lack of a better term, look good for him.
If it's him in blackface, it's a problem. If it's him in the Klan, it's a problem. If it's him just pictures with his friends, it's a problem. And it's a particularly bad problem because we haven't heard a word from him. I don't know how long this has been up yet, but at least since this afternoon, and it's been radio silent from his camp. And he's going to need to say something pretty soon, but there's probably not that much that he can say.
No, probably. Well, I mean, again, he's come out and already issued a, written statement, mea culpa. I'm so sorry. It was bad. Again, it's times, retro rage. We have all that stuff now. I don't know the guy as far as I know some of his politics, right? I know who he is. Do I know what's in his heart? Do I know what's in his heart from 30 plus years ago? Right? Some 34 years. I do not. I don't. Is he a racist? Could anybody be a racist? Could everybody be a racist? Could everybody be bigoted? I don't know. But the timing strikes me as odd. But if you look back, and it's happening more and more, that these gotcha moments. I mean, and I tell you what, producer Phil said something to me earlier. Goes, what institution would put that in their yearbook? That institution did. So it's not like nobody knew was out there. I mean, Mike, he probably knew it was out there. He probably wondered when this was going to crop up. And, you know, nowadays what we wait for is some sort of thing, good or bad, to take place. And then when that good or bad thing happens, you get sprung. You're a Major League Baseball player and you're starting your first game is a perfect time just before your first pitch to release a bunch of tweets that you did when you were a 3-year-old or whatever. Right? I mean, that's where we're at. Does it look bad? Yes. I want you guys, though, for 1 second, to go back to 1984. Not with your woke justice minds right now, but go back to 1984 as it was just 1984. Was that offensive then? Did some people laugh at that? Did some people cringe at that? Did some people feel offended by that, but we didn't know it because you didn't talk about it in those days? Yeah, probably. Flash forward 34 and a half years, we're all woke now. And ask yourself, should he be gone? Because people are saying you got to go. You have to go. You can't recover from this. You cannot recover from this. So the way I feel is, again, I don't know his heart. If his heart is true and pure, and that's the way he feels, and I think the wait and see, do people of color come out and say he was horrible to me, he used to scream the N-word at me all the time, or it was like, you know what, he's been nothing but great to me, and he's fought for stuff. Well, then you know what, you write it out. But is there more coming? Because usually, if you are a bad person and you've continued to be bad through certain times, it will start to pop up. People will start talking. Right? But if you like R. Kelly, kind of know, right? Kind of know. Right? Chris Brown, some issues, follow him around, right? Sometimes people say and do stupid things, and those stupid things happened long ago when at that time it wasn't stupid or horrible based on that era to do those things. But if nobody else comes out and other people come out and say, no, I think he's a good guy and this was a stupid thing and he's apologized and move on, then I think you write it out. Because the one thing that is horrible about us is we love to now bury people. We don't even want you to try to get up, right? You stay down for the count and then you stay down forever. But we also have a very, 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 very short attention span. And if we think we can't get you, then we give up and we're on to something else. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. It is. And here's another thing. Today is Black History Month. Something to think about there. Like waiting, it just seems like they're all, some of these things seem to be, again, you're walking to the mound for your first baseball thing. You tweeted something 5-10 years ago that you thought was funny, that was offensive. You were 12 or 13. And so this is when we're going to do it as you're getting ready to throw your first warm-up pitch. Black History Month. He's in a little bit of controversy. Out comes this. Earlier today, somebody took advantage of what was the start of Black History Month, and I think he wanted to do it earlier, but I think Kamala Harris beat him to it on Martin Luther King Day. Cory Booker.
I believe that we can build a country where no one is forgotten, where parents can put food on the table, where there are good paying jobs with good benefits, where our criminal justice system keeps us safe instead of shuffling more children into cages and coffins. Together, we will channel our common pain back into our common purpose. Together, America, we will rise. I'm Cory Booker, and I'm running for president of the United States of America.
Yeah, so there he is. He's running for president of the United States of America. It'll be very interesting. Here's the thing with Cory Booker. People ask, does he have a chance? I mean, is he? I think he's somewhat of a viable candidate. I do. But much like what took place today with this, out of this thing comes out, it's been out there for, so it seems to be forever, just like with Kevin Hart and all this stuff. These things seem to be there, and all of a sudden it's brought to the forefront of everything. Cory Booker, everybody remind him, hey, remember Cory and the whole Kavanaugh thing in your Spartacus moment. But then you also admitted, I believe it was in your book, that you did some things with women and that they didn't really like. And, it is just already it's out. So the daggers come quick. Here's this knock against Cory Booker from the Democratic side. The Republicans don't like him. He's progressive. Although I will say this, he has been fair at times to certain Republicans. And even when Mitt Romney was running against Obama, he's like, look, Mitt's a good dude. Stop hammering him because he worked for Bain Capital and all this stuff. I mean, there's been some moments, and he's got his issues with things like Big Pharma. He's taking tons of money from Big Pharma and tech companies and things like that. He's got some issues there as far as the way that this progressive world is going and the wokeness of everybody. That, you took $300,000+ from Big Pharma, and then you're screaming about you want, oh my God, we need single payer and all this stuff. Everybody's getting paid. Everybody's getting paid. But the issue with him is going to be one simple issue from my point of view. He doesn't check enough diversity boxes. And that sounds weird, but in the intersectionality of the world we live in, it's vitally important. And there's almost a hierarchy. And Kamala Harris, all things being equal, because she's a woman and they're looking for that Jackie Robinson moment, just nudges above him. It's still early. Again, it's still very early.
In terms of policy, Booker is for what's called the Green New Deal. He's for Medicare for all. He's going to be on the liberal end of policy he's probably not as left as Senator Warren or Bernie Sanders, but he'll be similar to Senator Harris in terms of policies.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, the policies will come later. I think anymore you have to navigate. And I think this to be more true than at any time ever. You have to say to yourself, I'm going to do this, or I'm running for this, or whatever it is you're going to do in this political world, or whatever it is. But first, let's get everything out there. How am I going to navigate all of the negative stuff that 20 years ago nobody batted an eye at, but because of today, it's instantaneous. So there isn't that moment of joy and adulation and this is what we're doing and party and woo, this is great. It's punch and then punch and then you get punched. And then if you can survive that, then people are like, okay, let's see what can happen from here. But he doesn't check enough boxes, I think, for a lot of people. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. We're headed towards, I don't think we're headed towards another shutdown. I think we're headed towards an emergency that the president will declare. Could it be on Tuesday night?
You'll hear the State of the Union, and then you'll see what happens right after the State of the Union.
We'll see. We will see what takes place after the State of the Union. That'll be very interesting to see what he is thinking. I think we all know that it's the wall. He's found money. They're preparing as if he has. He's been telling the Republicans, you're wasting your breath and you're wasting your time, and this thing's going to get done one way or another.
We have on the wall that's under construction, and we're giving out a lot of contracts. So we're building the wall. It's getting built one way or the other.
So we'll see. We'll see what he does. But that's kind of the attitude he has right now is don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. Don't do it. I'm gonna have to do this myself. Which the minute that is filed, right? What ends up happening is the minute he says we're doing a state of emergency, the lawsuits are filed. Can he constitutionally do this? And yes, he can. I mean, it's in there. And then you're going to have maybe potentially, you just don't know. But this is the world that currently we find ourselves. And it's funny when you listen to like Nothram here, and then you had Cory Booker and all these things come out. So one thing about Trump, right? Is that Cliff Sims, the book, the Pit of Vipers, talked about is the authenticity of Trump. But the reality is we knew everything that was salacious and dirty about him pretty much to it, I mean, we kind of knew who he was. So certain things would really affect other people because Trump has been so public. It didn't affect him like it affects other people. And that's interesting. It's almost like nowadays you've got to, before you announce anything, go out and do your mea culpa and talk about all the things you've done wrong in the past and show everybody. Hit first, beg for forgiveness, then maybe you'll have a chance. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. You can tweet at us. It is The Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
You see strengths, you see weaknesses. That's what you study for. So, it ain't always about sacks, though. It's about, the quarterback pressure, the quarterback hits, just making him move out the spot, not letting him feel comfortable. As long as he feel you close to him, that's any quarterback. You make him feel a little uncomfortable. So you want the sacks, you want the strips, but at the same time, as long as you affected him some way, somehow, to the point where he ain't too comfortable in the pocket to, do what he do. We're doing our job and we're going to get it done.
Aaron Donald right there, the man who is going to chase Brady around this weekend in the Super Bowl. And here's how you become a great football team. Great quarterback and somebody who can get two great quarterbacks. There you go. You make a quarterback uncomfortable, you hit him and you knock him down. I think they said Brady's been knocked down once in the playoffs, and he hasn't been sacked. Part of that's because he gets rid of the ball in 2 seconds. But the other part of that is because they kind of protect him, and they change up the game. It's very interesting watching the way that this goes, the way that they're doing this, the mind games of it all, and it will be interesting again this weekend. I'm excited. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. I just love listening to people angry at Mr. Shultz. Howard, how dare you run?
Every time a third-party candidate runs, they don't win, but they take the votes away from the Republican or the Democrat.
And here's something about Howard Schultz. I want you guys to understand this. He said, I've qualified. We're gonna be in all 50 ballots in every state, in every municipality, everywhere there's a ballot. He's done the work, and he said he's putting $300 million of his own money in. That makes you a player. Well, he's not buying the presidency. He's buying access to run in something that has become so elite that unless you're hand chosen in a lot of ways by either one of these parties, you don't have a choice. You can't get into this game without buying your way into the game. It's got to be top down. They're upset. They're angry. Would they be this angry? Because they protested him when he's giving one of his speeches the other night in Seattle. Would you be this angry if he was going to potentially take votes away from the right side of the aisle? Because the way they look at it, it's only going to be the left side of the aisle. I hope he takes votes away from both sides of the aisle. I want to see how committed he is to this. But they're worried. People are upset. Well, they never can win because the game has been rigged against them. And it takes somebody who can come in and have that kind of money. Because nobody else, you're not going to get a libertarian that's going to have $300 million to spend. They're going to have $3 to spend on a commercial. They're going to run on cable access at 2 a.m. after, Count Whatever does one of those horrible horror movie things. That's the best they're going to do. Maybe he's changing the game for good, in a good way. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Mark Hamrick, Bankrate.com, the guy with the golden pipes, is going to join us. We're going to talk about the jobs report. Is the economy looking good? Is it bad? What's going on in China? He joins us straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Well, the consensus for the January employment report is that we see about 170,000 jobs added, and the unemployment rate sticks at 3.9%.
Oh, that guy's voice, you know it. We have him on every time of this month. He breaks things down. Mark Hamrick, bankrate.com. And jobs. Good, bad, or indifferent? Because it looks like it's pretty decent.
Oh, I think always good to be with you, Chad. Thank you for your kind words. I think this is a much stronger than expected report. We broke above the 300,000 barrier again, the number of jobs added, and that's admittedly with a revised number for December, which earlier was above 300,000 and gets brought back down to earth to 222,000. Unemployment rate rose a bit. That was because mostly the partial government shutdown. So that probably isn't a long-term consideration. But, no, you have to say that everything that we've been working through in the U.S. and global economy in recent months, averaging, I think, 254,000 jobs a month over the previous 3 months, and 10 years into an economic expansion, 100 straight months of jobs creation, pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is pretty impressive. And, like a lot of us, right? Things start going really well, and we're always looking for that bottom to fall out. We're like, the things are going great. Don't mention anything. Things are going great. And people are looking around and wondering, when is that bottom going to fall out? When is that going to be that first scary thing? I mean, I read today that Italy might be heading towards a recession or in a recession, and everybody's always looking for that first factor, that first indicator there's going to be some issues.
Well, I do think that at this point the U.S. economy is the stellar economic performer around the world right now, and Western Europe is a worry. You have Brexit, you have U.S.-China, you have China obviously weighing on a lot of corporate earnings coming in recently, everybody from Apple to NVIDIA. And that underscores the pressure on the U.S. and China to work out a trade agreement. And you're right, we do always want to say, okay, we're good now, but what about tomorrow? But I would say for the foreseeable future, it looks as if the expansion continues to hum right along. And, looks like we'll probably end 2018 with an annual growth rate of about 3%. We'll probably do a little better than 2% for this first quarter, which tends to be one of the weaker quarters of the year, at least in terms of trying to measure it. So, and then, of course, the impacts from the partial government shutdown, which will be resolved in the coming weeks, meaning what we destroyed in economic activity, that won't ever come back, but the economic activity that was delayed, meaning paychecks that didn't have money to spend, that money will be spent. So, so far, so good.
Talking to Mark Hamrick, bankrate.com, as we break down the economic news. You talk about the government shutdown, and again, it will resolve itself over the next couple of weeks as far as looking back and see what kind of damage was done. What kind of damage do you think was actually done?
Well, first of all, there was the damage to individuals, right? There was the damage to individuals who don't have substantial savings, and Bankrate has done these surveys for a long time that have found that close to only 40% of Americans have enough in their bank accounts to pay for an emergency expense of $1,000 or more. And so this reminds us that whether it's a partial government shutdown, an interruption in our own employment, a storm of some kind that keeps us parked for a few days, or something else, we do need to have that emergency savings. So that's the personal impact that is real. And so within this report, we see that there were 500,000 people working part-time in the private sector that would have liked to have had full-time work added. In other words, just in the single month, 500,000 people were affected in the private sector with not having full-time work. So that's one thing. We knew that there were 400,000 workers or thereabouts in the federal government that were furloughed and essentially considered temporarily unemployed. Yes, that was temporary, but we know that from all the reporting we saw during that period that was having real impacts on people. But to your earlier point, yes, most of this will be restored. I do worry about the lack of the federal government's ability to attract and retain workers because I think the allure of that has been dealt some damage with 3 government shutdowns in a year now.
Yeah, which again is it just shows you how bitter and nasty it gets, and how we can't even. I mean, if we look up and we say the sky's blue, even if it is, they're going to argue and say, well, it's probably cloudy somewhere, and that's a sad situation. That doesn't do us any good. Talking to Mark Hamrick, bankrate.com, as we discuss the economy. Trump should be out touting this, and one of the things they should be talking about that's not getting talked about in the mainstream media because it's not salacious is the fact that China is feeling the effects of the trade kerfuffle. It's not really a war, but the trade kerfuffle, they're really feeling the effects. And that's not really being talked about.
Well, it is among those that are interested in these things, but you're right. I guess one never, at least I'm at the point where I can't try to put my arms around what the administration says, why, and what it doesn't say. But, this week we had the Chinese delegation in Washington, and the president and both the president and his counterpart certainly were playing nice, it appeared, and gave hope for this agreement ahead of the March 1st deadline. But you're right. I do think that China is seeing a more pronounced slowdown than had been expected. And as China goes, really, so goes much of Asia, because as is the global economy interconnected, so are the Asian economies. And so it probably is an accurate observation to say that to some degree there's more pressure on China. But, when you essentially have a totalitarian regime which does not respect civil rights, they have also means to, let's say, come up with quote-unquote solutions that aren't practical or even possible in a democracy.
No, but one thing I've always said about capitalism is the thing that breaks down those walls is the fact that eventually, even if you give them freedom to a certain extent economically, if you take that away and they've already had all their other freedoms taken away, that's going to break faster than if you didn't have anything to begin with. So wait a minute, you've taken away my freedom to think and all of this kind of stuff, and you gave me some economic freedom. Now you're taking that away. And I think that's a real worry over there, is how do we control this? Because this isn't Tiananmen Square. We've got freedoms now economically, and you take that away, and that could get ugly fast.
Well, I do think that always underscoring what China is doing is an understanding that civil unrest is always a risk, right? And so, as it is in most countries, absolutely, so that's why they need stronger growth than basically almost everywhere else in the world, and that's why ultimately it is to their benefit, as it is to the United States, to have a large framework and understanding of how our trade should try to meet the needs of both sides.
What's it like to, because I hear all kinds of stories of what it's like to operate a business. I've got friends who've done it, and the way that the Chinese government just comes in, Mark, is, and basically they want all of your stuff. They want to know everything you're doing. They want everything they possibly can know about you, and they take it, and they essentially, by the sounds of it, they kind of hand it out to all of the other Chinese, what would be your competitors, but it's part of the cost of doing business over there.
Well, that gets to the whole part of the most difficult aspects of the discussion, that if there's anything that probably stands in the way of having an agreement in the near term, it is the aspects that have to do with so-called intellectual property. And, essentially when one is operating in China, you don't have the ability to control even perhaps access to your hard drives or the data that you're sending abroad. And that means that everything that you design, everything you produce, everything you write about in communication is at risk of essentially being hijacked. And I think that longer term, that is more the concern, because what are some of the greatest things about the U.S. economy? It's our inventiveness, it's our ability to innovate, and that's why we have so many wonderful products and services that originate in our country that don't originate anywhere else. But if we don't have the ability to protect those things under something that's akin to a rule of law, then their value is sharply diminished. And so that's why intellectual property and trademarks and patents and all those things are really at the heart of what ultimately is probably, even from a numerical standpoint, the most valuable part of this discussion.
Talking to Mark Hamrick, Bankrate.com. I appreciate you coming on. One last question. Fourth quarters, the earnings are coming out, retail, all this stuff, Christmas, all of these things. Are we looking, some things seem to be good, some things seem to be bad. Some of that might play into the fact that we're in this kind of kerfuffle with China, especially when it comes to electronics and things of that nature. But all in all, does it seem like we're, that it was a decent fourth quarter last year?
I think obviously you've had a significant rise in the stock market's value from that Christmas Eve low. But the question is, how much should you be discounting future earnings? And that's a question that I don't think that I can give you an affirmative answer to, meaning the market's had a pretty strong rebound. We're getting closer to the highs that we're seeing last year? And do you have reason to be very optimistic about the future earnings environment? I think you can paint the picture as to how that can happen, but do you have a strong confidence that it's actually going to happen across the board? I think you probably need to see more evidence that the U.S. and global economies can hold up, and that there is a resolution of U.S.-China trade. But the other part is now with the Federal Reserve basically saying, well, we may be done with interest rate hikes now. If indeed that's the case, then there's the positive side of that where the market loves that, but there's the part of it that the market shouldn't love, which is if the outlook is so cloudy that the Fed doesn't feel like it can raise rates anymore, that tells you something about the overall strength of the economy.
Absolutely, man. You are the man, the legend, Mark Hamrick, Bankrate.com. Who do you got this weekend, the Rams or the Patriots?
Well, you're funny. I was going back and forth with that with my colleague Greg McBride, who's a dyed-in-the-wool Steelers fan, and I said, first of all, you have to admire and acknowledge that Tom Brady is a beast, and so are the Patriots for all the reasons that they've won. But there's just a part of me that says that I can't cheer for them, but you might say that the risk is they win, but because I always pretty much love the underdogs, I'm gonna hope that somehow Los Angeles can pull this out.
It's going to be interesting for sure. As always, love having you on, man. We'll talk to you next month. You have a good day and a good month.
You too, Chad. Always great to be with you. Thanks so much.
Thanks. The Hammer. Mark Hamrick right there, Bankrate.com. That voice, I'm telling you, he should be doing the game this weekend. That's what I'm saying. Economy looks at least strong, and I think as long as we're motoring along, and I will say this, Trump's got to get some credit. He has taken the Chinese on, and it's not just the tariffs and stuff. There's so many other things, and a lot of European countries are applauding Trump. They don't have the cojones to take it on, but they're applauding Trump because they're sick and tired of seeing all of their stuff pirated as well. And that's something that we don't talk about a lot here, because, again, it can be kind of wonky and boring. But it's definitely something that we should be paying attention to. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say what?
Oh, man. It is Super Bowl weekend. I am uber excited. Very excited about what's going to go on with Super Bowl weekend. I'm telling you guys this. I'm going to give you my picks. Jack and I have been discussing it. About 110 million people are going to watch the Super Bowl. $5 million for a 30-second commercial in the Super Bowl. Right? They've got all kinds of crazy bets you can make, right? The prop bets that are just awesome. Just awesome prop bets. I mean, you've got, crazy bets, because I want crazy bets. I just don't want the boring, who's the team that scores first. Gladys Knight. Mike on Mike stand, minus 145. Jim Nantz and Tony Romo say Gronk. Over 2.5 times. Minus 270. Jim Nantz or Tony Romo mentioned the spread. Plus 500. Right? Jim Nantz or Tony Romo says GOAT. That's greatest of all time for those of you who don't know. Minus 155. I like this one. I saw this one today. There's a lot of money on this one. Age of Sean McVay, the coach. Minus 260, right? How many times will Giselle be shown on TV? Minus 140, right? Then you got Trump tweets, how many times he tweets during the day. Does he congratulate the winner? Does he spell everything correctly? You've got just all kinds of things, including whether Big Boy is going to show up on stage. Big Boy! Or not. He's going to be there, but is Andre 5000, part of Outkast, going to show up there? is this is like, you're like, say what? I know, right? So that you got other things like, will Travis Scott have his shirt on? Will Adam Levine have his shirt on? Will SpongeBob be there in blow-up form? And if he does, will he take a knee? I mean, there's all this, and you could bet on all of this stuff, including the length of the anthem. The longest anthem was like 2.5 minutes, and that was Alicia Keys. The shortest was Billy Joel, and it was 90 seconds. If you really wanted a short anthem, Phil, you'll get this joke. Probably the Ramones probably did like 32 seconds. That would have been awesome. But the keys to the game, I'm going to break it down for you. You guys can put your money on it. All right? You can put all your money on it. Rams, great young quarterback, great young nucleus, but they've got a mixture of players that are a bit older. They've not been in this position before. Last year, I looked at both teams, and it pained me to say Philadelphia was going to win. I don't feel that way this year. The Patriots, I think, just 9th Super Bowl, insane for Belichick and Brady. I'm talking about a guy potentially who's going to win his 6th Super Bowl as a head coach, and a guy who's going to win his 6th Super Bowl as a starting quarterback. Which for those of you listening, that right there, winning that kills the argument of who's the greatest of all time. That to me, the argument's over. 6, plus you'll be the only player with 6 rings. Charles Haley and him each have 5, which is nuts, which is just crazy. This year, I feel like it is going to be the Patriots. I just feel like the way they play, I think you look at Josh McDaniel, their play caller, their offensive genius, who is cooked up something, and he does well against teams like the Rams defense. And the Rams defense is, Wade Phillips is like, this is what we do. We don't do a lot of stuff. What we do well, but you're not going to see anything exotic out of our defense. And that's where they eat it up. So I'm thinking like 38-24, 38-24-ish. You know, I think the first half it'll be close, but I think it'll be tight because that's what happens, and then they go from there. It's gonna be crazy. Be fun. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at me. Do love hearing from you. Speaking of tickets, kids. You ready for this?
If you want a cheap seat, remember the term cheap is relative here. The lowest cost I've found is $2,785. The highest prices I've seen so far, $118,020. And that's pretty amazing when you consider the first Super Bowl tickets back in 1967 went for just $12 a seat.
Yeah, so there you go. So a lot different, though, nowadays. Lots of stuff, and everybody's going to be there. It's corporate, with a few fans scattered throughout. Go Patriots! 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. Love hearing from you. It is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
I believe that we can build a country where no one is forgotten, where parents can put food on the table, where there are good paying jobs with good benefits, where our criminal justice system keeps us safe instead of shuffling more children into cages and coffins. Together, we will channel our common pain back into our common purpose. Together, America, we will rise. I'm Cory Booker, and I'm running for president of the United States of America.
I am Spartacus! Remember that big moment? So he's running now. So we got a lot of people running already. I think there's 3,000 Democrats are running for president of the United States. Very similar to what we saw a few years ago with the Republicans, where they were like, you know, there wasn't even enough stage. They had to have 2 mini debates. And then they had big debates. And there was an opening band. And if you did really bad in one debate, you got relegated like the European soccer leagues, where if you're bad and you're the bottom 3, you go down the division and the top 3 come up. It was the same thing. If you were bad, they moved you to the kids table, right? The kids debate. And then if you were good there, you got to go up. What? I don't know how well Cory's going to do. Look, he's got an interesting story. Dude's smart, right? USA Today, All-American high school football player, played football at Stanford, smart guy. Like any politician, anybody who's been in this, he's got some things where you look at and you say, a lot of people are bringing up the fact that during the whole, Kavanaugh debate, what about you admitted you sexually assaulted somebody and then, you've had some issues with big pharma where you've got a lot of money from them. Same thing with big tech but everybody's going to have theirs, right? Everybody's going to have their issue. Nobody's perfect, right? His biggest knock isn't any of those. His biggest knock against him, oddly enough, doesn't have to do with the color of his skin. It has to do with the fact that maybe, just maybe, people will judge not by the content of, but down below.
How will he fare in this crowded Democratic primary, one of the most diverse in history, if not the most diverse in history? One advantage he could have is that he has raw political talent that Democrats point to. One of the challenges, this is a year of the women candidates running. He's going to go on The View today for his first interview.
Yeah, and if you're going to go talk to women, there's no other place to talk to than those women to announce, I am here, hear me roar, I am Spartacus. Here's the issue. The Dems really want a woman. They want to be the side that says, look what we did, right? They want to be the Dodgers. We got the first African-American president. Now we're going to have the first woman president. That's what they want. They want to be the Brooklyn Dodgers. They want another. That's what they want, right? When I hear all this stuff, look how diverse they are. I always ask the question, but is anybody competent? Is anybody? And Cory, some of the other knocks against Cory Booker is the fact that he was, he didn't hate Mitt Romney, he's reached across the aisle. While he screams progressive, he understands the game a little bit more than, and I think more so in the middle than the other ones, even though he's still more progressive than a lot of people would like if you're looking at that. Because that's that, right? Isn't that the big knock at this moment in time, is like how far left a lot of people are going, to the point of just ridiculous, that even other Democrats are running away from some of these people? It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Do I think he has a chance? It's too early to tell. I just think he may get on the ticket. I don't think he'll be at the top of the ticket. I don't. I still think, barring any flubs along the way, which, again, as we all know, could be huge. Kamala Harris, she put herself out there. She's raising money. Her profile's high. And I think she's kind of, and she's already had her first misstep with the, get rid of, private insurers. She's already had her first misstep, but I still think in the end, they're looking, they're like, she's African American, or she's a person of color, because I think her dad's Indian or mom's Indian. So she's a person of color. She was a prosecutor. So the crime thing, that's a big knock against her, that she did her job well. But she's a woman, too. So that checks off boxes, and they like that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. You could tweet at us. They're still fighting over their wall, and will a wall ever get built? Won't it get built? Who knows? It is what it is. 15th is going to come this month. They're not going to get anything done. Trump already said yesterday it's a waste of time. And they're fighting over the name of it and the whole 9 yards. Remember what Trump wanted to call it originally? Because we talked about the wall, the fence, the wall.
If I have a steel wall, or you could call it a steel fence, barriers, fencing, or walls, or whatever you want to call it. Barriers, walls, call them what you want. Whatever you want to call it, it's okay with me. They can name it whatever they can name it. Peaches.
So, Peaches, I don't know. You know, it's coming. He's going to declare a state of emergency. They're preparing for it. I think he feels now I've given them ample opportunity. There isn't any way that they really want to get this done with a wall in there. Now, mind you, they haven't spent any money that they got last year. We've got 600 miles of it. Does it have to be a wall from point A to point B? No, I think it could be barriers along the way, and I think technology needs to be a part of it. But the reality is Trump wants his wall. Call it a vanity project, call it whatever you want to call it. That is what he wants. That is it. And they're going to fight over the name of it all you want. But he's going to do everything he can to get it. And if that means going around you, much like Obama did with DACA, he's going to do it.
Let's not have a silly semantics argument. Call it what you want, but get it so that it's a physical barrier that keeps the drugs out of our communities and keeps and stops silly semantics.
Yeah. But that's what it is, because look at us as a society, right? Look at us as a society. How we tiptoe, what do we call this? Pro-choice, pro-life, abortion, gun control. We try to climate change, global warming. We're all semantics. It's always about how you paint the picture of it. So, do I think it's going to get done? I think he's going to do everything he can. But just remember, there's going to be challenges. And so, if you think it's going to be done next week, next month, next year, you're fooling yourself. And even if the Democrats say, here's $25 billion, build your stupid wall, still going to take a long time. It is. A long time. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love talking to you. A lot of football stuff to get to. We're going to get to it all. Yesterday, Mitch McConnell started this, because the Democrats put something forward where it should be a federal holiday for voting. And the Republicans came out and said no. Part of the reason McConnell's like, I don't know if we need 6 days of paid leave for federal workers on voting day. And some of the stuff that he fought against. And of course, the fight began because it's poor and people of color. It's why the Republicans don't want it, which I'm sure in some areas that's probably very true. Not going to lie to you there. I'm not going to lie to you. Is it always like that? No. Do I think we need a paid holiday another paid holiday for federal workers? I don't know if we need that. But I said yesterday, I'm for it. I got no problem for it. Because I know one thing, I'm going to be working it. So it doesn't matter to me. But I also know what it's going to become. We're going to be drinking, we're going to be barbecuing, and we're going to be having fun.
In 2020, Hispanics will make up a large portion of the voter share, and eventually they will be the biggest minority group of voters. This is something that scares the Republican Party. I'll tell you, I had the opportunity to be on the House floor during the swearing in. When you looked at that chamber, on one side you had the Democratic Party that really did look like America. On the other side, on the Republican side, it really did look inconsistent with the way America is going. It was a party of increasingly older white men, and this is just not where the country's going. That's what this is about.
She's not lying. She's not lying there. Look, and that's Tiffany Cross, right? You look at the Democrats, they are far more diverse than the Republicans, if you do. Doesn't mean that there's not African Americans and Hispanics, if you've seen the numbers lately, that do support Trump and support conservative causes. And something I've talked about before, the fact that the Hispanic vote is growing and the Republicans are continuing to fail to grab that, especially first generation, maybe not second and third. It's tough. They go to college. They get indoctrinated in a lot of ways, especially in academia. But you look across the board, Catholic, pro-life, a lot of conservative views, and they have failed. They have failed because I think in a lot of ways, Republicans have just given up trying to get people of color in a lot of ways. And that is when I was, and it was striking when I was out at the convention I talked to several people. We had him on the air. We talked to several people about the failure at the time. I think Rance Priskin was one of them we had on, or Reince Priebus, as he was known back then before Don King changed his name. But he's like, well, our whole thing is we're just going to put our message out there and the people will come to us. And I'm like, this is where you fail. This is why you're tone deaf. This is why you're tone deaf. Right there. You're there you go. Nope, you got to go in. You got to fight for it if you want it. And there's a fear factor there. And she's right about one thing, man. You put that chamber up there and you look over and go, yeah, one side is more diverse. And I see the fear. I talk to people, we're going to, there's a fear factor there. But this is where you go, but wait a minute, guys, gals, non-binary, gendered, specific, whatever the hell Phil always says. Wait a minute. Our ideas are better. If you think that, then you fight for those. But they won't. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us, MyPillow. I slept well last night. I did. Partly, I got the MyPillow. Yeah, it's great. It's the best thing around. I mean, for me, it's helped me. And how I know it really, really works, because I've got their mattress topper, because they do that stuff. It's incredible, too. But when I travel, and I do travel a lot, my MyPillow is incredible. In fact, Jack's going to do a commercial with me for MyPillow, so be prepared for that. If you guys want to know what the cool beans Jack's doing, he's all excited. Right now, they got a deal that's great. You've got nothing to lose. It's till March 1st. You could return the pillows if you don't like them. Money back, guaranteed. Right there. You can get 4 pillows, 2 premium pillows, 2 go anywhere pillows, half the price, free shipping, 100% machine washable, dryable, made in the USA. You got a 10-year warranty. You're going to love it. Put your skepticism to the test, right? You woke up today, your back's a little sore. You just want to put your skepticism to the test. It's not going to cost you a lot of money, and you get a money-back guarantee. 4 pillows, right? 2 premium, 2 go anywhere, half the price, free shipping. Call right now, and then tell me, oh, yeah, Chad, I did. It wasn't at first. I didn't realize how good it was, but I put my skepticism. That's what you're going to say to me. 800-944-4975 or go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code Benson. It's MyPillow.com. Promo code is Benson. 800-944-4975 or MyPillow.com. Use that promo code right there, Benson. At Chad Benson Shows, your Twitter, ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
48% of American adults have a form of heart disease, according to the American Heart Association. That's a significant increase from past years, but it's largely due to a change in guidelines for high blood pressure. Anything more than 130/80 is considered high. When high blood pressure is removed, the number falls to 9%. Doctors say 80% of heart disease can be prevented by controlling high blood pressure, cholesterol, and diabetes while exhibiting healthy lifestyle behaviors.
Yeah, today is Wear Red Day. I was like, what's this? I'm like, I'm not wearing red. I'm in shorts for those of you who are freezing somewhere. Just want to let you guys. Yeah, it's nice today. It really is. We even went out this morning at early because I get up at 4 and I'm on my way to work and I'm like, it's beautiful. I'm in shorts. But it's Wear Red Day. And I didn't wear red, but that is awareness for women and heart disease. Because it is a problem. I mean, we worry about all of this stuff, right? We worry about all terrorism and this and that. The fact is, you know what's going to kill you? The thing on the end of the spoon that you're putting in your mouth. And the fact that the choice is get up and go work out for 30 minutes a day, maybe 4 days a week, or not. It's not rocket science. Should I have a smoke or should I not have a smoke? Should I overdrink? It's not. And that's what's killing us. That's what makes our medical care expensive. Take away all of the other stuff with our medical care. We cause a lot of our own issues for ourselves because of how unhealthy we are. How about some personal responsibility? Sometimes, though, right? Like we saw the dude from The Biggest Loser, that guy, right? Sometimes it's just a genetic thing. But a lot of that is I got genetic problems. I'm like, is the genetic problems you have located in that rack of ribs? Thyroid issues. I'm just saying. Something we should be thinking about today. Something we should be. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Something Trump should be doing today is talking about this.
American employers created 304,000 jobs last month, the 100th consecutive month of job growth. Hiring from December was revised much lower. The unemployment rate rose to 4%, but only because tens of thousands of federal workers were counted as temporarily unemployed during the government shutdown. Otherwise, the Labor Department said there were no discernible impacts from the shutdown on the private sector.
Which is good. If I'm him, I'm out there speaking about this today. How good it is. What has he been doing? He's talking about the walls, talking about the walls, talking about the wall. Let's talk about the wall. I would be out there talking about how amazing it is, how good these numbers are, despite everything. Plus, the stock market, best January in 30 years. So it's lost pretty much most of what it gave back. And so at some point in time, you know what? Be out touting this. That's what you should be doing, right? It's good for all of us because we do vote with our pocketbooks. Let's not pretend we don't. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Super Bowl this weekend. You got the Rams, you got the Patriots, and then you also have food and prop bets. We'll talk about that. Who's eat what and where? What's your favorite Super Bowl must-have dish? Text the program 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. That's your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
When the big game kicks off and you're having that party, what big dish will you be eating? Google has compiled a list of top Super Bowl food recipes that people have been searching for. In Alaska, it's nachos. In Texas, spinach dip. Mississippi, white chicken chili. But wait, in California, home of the Rams, it's baked chicken breasts. And in Massachusetts, Patriots territory, gluten-free pretzels. At least there's Illinois, where it's jalapeno poppers.
Yeah. I'm a nacho guy. I will be having all of this stuff. I'm excited. It's actually a question of the day. What is your must-have when it comes to that day? What is your must-have, right? Because everybody, it's one of the few things that, like, everybody's going to be watching. You know, oh, no, they're not, because I already got some of those tweets. I never watched the Super Bowl. Mega! Whatever. Get over it. Oh, my God. I'm going to watch the Super Bowl. It is what it is. But, Chad, they kneeled. I don't watch the game for them. I watch them to watch them crush them souls. I have a bigger problem with them going brain dead than I do anything else. All right? 43% of you say wings are a must. 15% pizza. 38% chips and dips. 4% burgers and dogs. A bunch of people tweeting and saying all of that. Yeah. Right? It is. It is. But it's got to be, yeah, there's always somebody's bringing, honey, they want you to make your good dip that nobody's going to eat. Now, producer Phil, you are a bit of a foodie. You are going to be, what are you smoking something this weekend?
No, I'm making a cheesy sweet potato tot.
Oh, look at you. Look at you. I'm just doing going to have nachos. I'm going to have wings. I'm going to do burgers. Got my butcher box. I'm doing burgers. I'm just doing it's just me relaxing. The Lizards, Winston and I, we're going to put on our Patriots gear and Rams gear. We're going to sit there, and Jack's he's torn because he's got a little Gurley jersey, little Todd Gurley jersey, but he's also the biggest Patriots fan, so he's torn. And I'm like, well, maybe you should bet. Bet on other things that aren't the game. And that's the fun thing. The prop bets. Here's some of the prop bets. Who's the first person the winning quarterback thanks in the on-field post-game interview? God, a little plus 800 there. Wife, family, 160. Teammates, coach, right? plus 700. Fans, plus 800. Any other, 13. How about will they visit the White House? Minus 950. Yes, no, plus 551. And if they do, what will Trump serve them? Oh, my Lord. Fast food and pizzas, number one right now. Mexican food, Chinese food, Indian food. These are all things you can bet on. All right? Now, not only that, but tweets, right? Over under 9.5. Trump tweets on Super Bowl Sunday. The total tweets he tweets that day. So over under 9.5. Oh, man, I'm going over that because he's also doing that interview at halftime, right? So I'm totally going over because that's Trump thing. Number of times government shutdown is mentioned must be during live CBS broadcast. Halftime show does not count from kickoff till completion. Over under less than 1.5, right? Number of typos Donald Trump tweets on Super Bowl day all day. So it's all day. Over under also 0.5. Will Brady lead New England from behind in the fourth quarter in overtime to win? Yes, plus 400. Right? Now, then you start to get to some of these. How about this? Tony Romo, who, by the way, he's just been like, he is more popular now than he was when he was with the Cowboys. People love him. They're fighting right now because everybody wants to sign Romo. And, last year's first year, I think he didn't know what to do. He and Jim have a good rapport. And Jim, I like the fact that Jim Nantz, hello, my friends, just kind of lets him do his thing. Right? And so Romo is more popular than ever. And over the last several weeks, his big thing is he calls the plays before the plays happen. Will a play that Tony Romo predicts result in a touchdown? Yes, plus 200. Here's one for all you, Kardashian Jenner people. Will Kylie Jenner appear on camera? Must be during the CBS live broadcast. Plus 155. How about this one? Are you ready for this one, Phil? Will Travis Scott be shirtless at any moment during the halftime show?
The whole show.
Yeah. Plus 1,000. Adam Levine, plus 2,000 of being shirtless. Andre 3,000. Will he join Big Boy on stage? And of course, Phil, the one we talked about. Will SpongeBob inflatable or costume being used during the halftime show? Yes, plus 500. Will SpongeBob take a knee during the halftime show in protest? Must appear for action, plus 3,000. How many people? Over under 108.5 million people, according to Nielsen. That's a good one. That's a big number right there. And what will be the length of the national anthem? Over under is 110 seconds. I'll take the under. I think she's going to get through it quick. I think the shortest was 90 by Billy Joel. That was the shortest. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Love hearing from you. What's your taste of choice when it comes to said Super Bowl item? For me, if I could only have one, might be nachos, right? I love wings, but I just feel like that's a chip dip nacho kind of thing, right? And I'm making burgers and dogs, but I just like burgers and dogs. Pizza's always a good thing too, but I think nachos would be my go-to. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, proving that if you try hard enough, you can find something and read into it to the point where if you do it hard enough at the right angle that you can be offended. Yeah.
The Nike Air Max 270 is a trainer featuring what Nike calls its biggest heel air unit. Yet, what's controversial is the sole. It says Air Max in a stylized script that, if you turn it upside down and isolate part of it, resembles the word Allah in Arabic. So says the petition on change.org, calling that extremely offensive to Muslims because the name of God, quote, will surely be trampled, kicked, and become soiled. Nike says it takes the concerns seriously, and any perceived meaning or representation of its logo, other than saying Air Max, is unintentional.
Oh. Now, let's remember that you have to, I don't even know how you do this. How do you get to that point? And I think this is the second time that Nike has done something that's been offensive according to somebody else, the Muslims, but it was a symbol or something last time. This, like, you're trying now. You're like, okay, I'm going to take the shoe up. And as you said, Phil, you're going to put it in the light. You're going to squint your eye. You're going to put your finger over a couple things. I told Phil earlier, I said, Phil, I'm wearing Adidas. And if I flip them over and I see on the bottom, it says Adidas. And if I look really hard and then I put tape over it and write something else, then I would be doing something that was offensive to somebody else. It's nuts. But this is the wacky world we live in. We were just talking about prop bets. This is the craziness of, you think that's crazy? Think about that for a second. And for those of you who don't keep a score, why aren't the Greeks pissed? Because, is it Nike? Oh, yeah, she's the goddess of victory. Well, you're stomping all over the Nikes. Come on. It's just so insane. It is. This is the problem we have in this country right here. This is it. We are so pissed off. And then Nike's having to come out and apologize. Well, we're sorry. Sorry for what? The Greeks aren't protesting, right? They're like, they were going to, and then they said, we're going to smoke some cigarettes. We're all going to ride around on Vespas. Just be all miserable. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Howard Schultz is being Howard Schultz, and it's so funny because there's all these people who are protesting him and yelling at him and mad at him.
The former Starbucks CEO returned to his hometown of Seattle just days after announcing a possible independent presidential run. But that didn't sit well with local Democratic voters who rallied outside one of his speaking engagements. Organizer Chris Petzold.
My fear, our fear, is that he will take votes away from the Democrats and hand us another 4 years of Donald Trump.
But Schultz argues there's a need for a centrist independent candidate.
Yeah. Yeah, and when you listen to their argument of this, you know, you just sit back and it's listen to what this person says.
Every time a third-party candidate runs, they don't win, but they take the votes away from the Republican or the Democrat.
So should they not be allowed to? Should we not have a third party? I mean, Cory Booker is running today. Well, yeah, but Chad, he's a Democrat. I know that, but should we say, well, you running is going to take away from Kamala Harris, so you shouldn't do that? You're pissed because Howard Schultz, and for those of you guys who don't know how serious he has done the legwork. He has done the groundwork. He has said he's going to be on all 50 ballots. He is going to be in every single state, and he's going to be on every ballot in every county. He has done it, and he's willing to put in upwards of $300 million of his own money. So think about that for a second. So that man shouldn't be allowed to run because it takes away, or you perceive to see it, is it potentially, it steals votes from Democrats. I hope he steals votes from both. And it's not stealing when they think your idea is better. I don't know what his entire platform's going to be, but I'm interested.
My fear, our fear, is that he will take votes away from the Democrats.
What if it was the Republicans, ma'am? Would you be saying the same thing? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't be saying the same thing. You wouldn't be.
Every time a third-party candidate runs.
Which, let's be real, Nader, Perot, but let's be real. The Jill Steins, the Libertarians have such a minute effect on anything. Just a small little, just it's you can't even see it. So they're worried because you know what? He is a player. If he wants to do this, and he's done the groundwork, and he's put up $300 million of his own money, and he already knows that he's going to be on the ballot in every single state and every city and every municipality across the country. If he knows that, he is a player in a huge way. And I think it will affect all. I want to see what you got.
They don't win, but they
haven't won. They haven't won.
They don't win, but they take the votes away from the Republican or the Democrat.
But you're more worried about the Democrat. Let's be real, because he has been a lifelong Democrat, but no longer looks at them as a party that he is associated with because of just where they've gone. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. You know, you got that. And then you got Cory Booker announced today he's running for president because he's going to do a lot of different things. And I think he's going to be, I think the way that Cory Booker's looked at the way, especially Kamala Harris has gone out, is how I need to do this is I need to position myself as, yes, I've got some progressive ideas, but I'm more of a Democrat than a progressive. And I think that's kind of what he needs to do. But I also think a lot of these candidates nowadays, they get themselves in trouble because when they get in front of an audience, there's cameras everywhere. There's the viral quickness that things can go. That to sometimes get the roar of the crowd, they say something that maybe they don't really mean. But it instead of it being something offhand, it becomes something bigger than it probably should be.
I'm running to restore our sense of common purpose, to focus on the common pain that we have all over this country. We can do better.
Common pain. Again, best time in the history of the world. I've never been happier. It is incredible to live in this country at this time, at this moment. They have to tell you life is awful and horrible, because you can't slay a dragon that doesn't exist. Am I saying it's easy for everyone? No. But when even the poor struggle with obesity, right? Like, oh, and even the poor have cell phones and air conditioning, sounds pretty good comparatively to a lot of other places where the middle class and even some of the well-to-do don't have those. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Wrap it up straight ahead. We're going to talk about the NFL Super Bowl duper game, the big game, that game there, Super Bowl in Atlanta. We're going to give you our picks straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
Take a fake news break. Check out the really important news of the day at our website, ChadBensonShow.com. Once there, click on Chad's free podcast and get real. The Chad Benson Show, where truth and the American way live. Print free.
And I think everything goes back to the relationships, and that's the foundation of everything that we do. And then, you know, it's a shared ownership, and I think that people want to feel like they're a part of something bigger than themselves, and when they do feel like their opinions matter, they're truly heard, but they're dealt with like grown men. You know, there's a mutual respect that exists between our players and our coaches, and it's all about us working in the same direction.
Yeah, Sean McVay right there talking about what makes them them. Bob Kraft said, hey, you know, it's about our winning culture. Super Bowl this weekend. We're going to eat a lot. A lot of people are going to watch. And get ready for this. 1.3 billion chicken wings are going to be consumed on Sunday. $1.3 billion worth of beer. If you want to buy a commercial 30-second ad, it's going to cost you $5 million. The Lombardi Trophy weighs 7 pounds. That's what you get for winning. Tom Brady has 5 rings, tied with Charles Haley for the most Super Bowl victories. Patriots have 5. Steelers have 6. They have a chance to tie it. It's crazy. I'm super excited this weekend because, you know what? It is what it is. You know, it's my favorite. And I love football, and you got 2 teams that I actually enjoy. I love my Patriots, and you got to see one of my other producers who is just decked out in Patriot gear like you cannot believe. The Hawaiian Crown is decked out. So it's going to be fun. Who do I have? Well, first, let me ask you, Phil. You're going to be watching the game. Who you got?
I got the Rams.
You got the Rams. Simple and easy. Got the Rams. Last year, as much as it pained me, I went against my Patriots. And I was right. I went against my Patriots. Will I make the same prediction this year? I will not. I think the Patriots are in a better position than they were last year. There was just something about that run. That team was so hot. The Rams are playing with house money, but I think Belichick is going to come up with something. I think they're going to protect Tom Brady. I think they're going to frustrate them. And I think the big matchup that is going to be there is Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator, versus Wade Phillips, the defensive coordinator of the Rams. And that matchup's going to be big. And I think in the end, the Patriots come out of this 34-23, 34-28. A good game, some scoring. But I think in the end, Brady gets number 6. And there you go. You have it. Put your money on it. 323-538-2423. A lot of you are texting in saying chili is a great one. Yeah, I forgot about chili. That is a good one. Chili, hey, they're all good. I don't do artichoke, and I don't do guacamole. It's weird, I know. Just saying. We'll be back, talk about it again on Monday. Have yourself a wonderful, safe, and amazing weekend. If you're cold, stay warm. If you're warm, enjoy it. Night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.